Hey everybody, we are back to classroom. Now I am already back. Today was my first day of teacher meetings and it is so hot outside. It still feels like summer. What are we doing? But that's okay. We're getting back into classroom and I am excited to see the students. And we just had teacher work day today, but we are going to start on Wednesday next week with the kids. And so we're getting all prepared. So one of the things I want to be prepared for is obviously to use Google Classroom. So we are using the hashtag back to classroom so that we can share tips on how to use Google Classroom and how to enhance Google Classroom with tools like Schoolytics, Mote, Screencastify, and more. There's so many great tools that work with Google Classroom to make your experience even better. If you would please use www.backtoclassroom.org. That is our Facebook group where we are sharing tips. So if you have any questions or want to continue the conversation or even have some requests of how to use Google Classroom or how to use tools that work with Google Classroom, we are having that conversation at www.backtoclassroom.org. So what we're looking at today is who submitted work in Google Classroom, right? How do I know students turned in work? What to me, one of the promises of technology is to be able to teach differently, to rethink how we've always done it. Why do I need every student on the same pacing guide? Why do I need every student to turn in the same assignment on the same day? Because it's good for learning? Of course not. Everyone learns at a different pace. There's no average time to learn something, but it's so difficult to manage. The reason we don't have different due dates or times or different assignments is because it is honestly, it's more than we can handle. So to make it manageable for us, because we can only do what we can do, we usually will have everybody assigned on the same day and everybody submit on the same day. And then it makes it a lot easier for me to know who submitted work because I go into that assignment at one time and I see who did and didn't submit it when I look at that assignment. But what if I want to look across my classes and I want to look across different assignments? That can be really tedious to impossible. I mean, it's just such an impossible task to say I should click on every assignment and see if someone turned something in. That is obviously no good. All right, so the Google Classroom activity page is new. It's actually just in beta. It is not out yet, and it definitely has some advantages that is going to help you to know who turned in work, who's interacting with my Google Classroom. So I took a screenshot. I do have a beta version, a trial version of the activity page. And you'll notice along the top, it looks a little bit different. It says stream, classwork, people, and grades. You have those. I also have a tab called activity. And on this activity tab, it's going to show me for each student what is their last activity, the last thing that they did. Now, I've blurred out all the student names, but you see that I can click on each of these titles. It says last activity date. By default, it sorts by student's last name, or first name, anyway, by their name, right? So I'm going to see it all alphabetical, but I'd actually like to see who turned in work today versus who turned in work yesterday. And you can see that it is showing me today and yesterday here in the last activity date. Because if I click on the column header, it is going to sort it for me so that I can get that information. And then when it's going to, oh, excuse me, it's coming. Blah. And you see it shows me, did they submit something or did they comment on something? So notice it says over here on the right, it's kind of small. Sorry about that. See if I can zoom in on this. Not really. Okay, so it says class comment or private comment. So I'm able to see that last comment that was made. That's over here on the right-hand side. And if they submitted work, I can see that they submitted work. And this, again, is a upcoming feature in Google Classroom. And on that, each of these, the last submission or the comment, those are clickable. So I can click on it and see the assignment that they submitted or click on it and see the last comment. So this is a really great way for me to differentiate, to understand that there is no average time to learn something, that one student can turn in assignment number 32 and another student can turn in assignment number 24, and I am going to know about it. Super helpful. I've been using this. I love it. It's really great. The problem with this is it only shows the last activity date. So if a student was getting caught up and they turned in 3 assignments, I would only see the last activity here on this activity page. So this is helpful, but it is not perfect. So what I'd like to do today is I would like to introduce you to Schoolytics. Schoolytics works with Google Classroom to make it easier to manage your data. For you, it makes data easier for you to access and for you to turn your data into action. So you find Schoolytics at schoolytics.io. That's the word school and analytics pressed together, schoolytics.io. And so when I log into Schoolytics, and again, I've taken a screenshot and blurred out some names, notice on the very left-hand side, you have these different reports. Missing assignment report, disengaged students report, who's not turning in work, student honor roll, who is turning in work, and then I have these data tables of my students, my classes, my assignments, and this is brand new, is it says student work. So if in that left-hand side panel, you click on student work, that is where you're going to be able to find that nice list of all of the assignments that have been submitted. So it's like the activity page, except a few notable exceptions. You'll notice it also shows the assignment title. This shows when it was updated, the date stamp, but it's showing me all of the submissions, not just the last submission. So if a student turned in work, 3 assignments today, I'm going to see all 3 of them there. The other thing you'll notice, I don't know if you can see this, that has the filters right up here at the top. It says date range, and then I can sort it by groups, and I can sort it by class names. So you'll see this is showing all of my Google Classroom classes in one place. So it gives me one to-do list for all of my classes for each assignment. Every time a student submits, I'm able to see it in this list. Very helpful for me to know who's turning in work, especially if they're not in order. You see here I have a number 5 and a number 32. So students are turning in things at different times. And those actually might just be from 2 different classes. And you can see number 5 and number 6 that I have shown on there. But it also shows me the due date, how many attachments, if they've resubmitted, right? We know that students do this. They just submit, turn it in without making any changes. I can see if they've submitted once, or if it's a resubmission, if they've turned it back in, which I find very helpful. And you can click on any of these column titles to have it sort by due date, to have it sort by the number of attachments, have it sort by when it was submitted, have it sort by class. You can filter, so it's one class, a couple classes. You can choose a subgroup of students who you're trying to focus in on, and like, did these 5 students turn any work this week? I've been trying to really focus on them. You can create a student group and look at the student work just by those 5 students or whatever filters that you set up, which I think is so helpful. So let's go ahead and go over to schoolytics.io, schoolytics.io. And what I'm going to be able to see here is it says live demo. Now it is free for teachers. You can just click login and see this information for yourself. But I'm going to click on live demo because it is before the school year, and also because I obviously don't want to display my students' data. So right when I log in, it gives me this dashboard showing me assignment. Oh, excuse me, this is the administrator view. For the demo, I do need to switch to teacher view. There's an administrator view, a teacher view, a parent view, and a student view. So I'm going to go ahead and select teacher, and it gives me this nice dashboard to know if the assignments are being completed, what's the grade average, what percentage of my, look at this, I'm all caught up. Wow, that's like amazing, except this is the demo data, so I am not all caught up. Now I'm going to click over here on the left-hand side where it says student work. When I click on student work, it is going to show me a list of everybody's name, the assignment title. Now this is demo data, so it doesn't show that the assignments were updated, which is why I showed you the screenshot of my Schoolytics first, because these are some older data. But you can see here that it shows the assignment title, and these assignment titles are clickable. So I can click on that and go right to Google Classroom, go ahead and review that Helga turned in assignment 9B. Now notice that Heather A turned in assignment 4C and assignment 10B. I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, let's scroll down here. Heather, right? Oh, these are two different Heathers. Here's a Heather J, and here's a Heather J. So if Heather J submits 2, 3, 4 times in the same day or across the week, it's not going to just show me the last time that Heather turned it in, but all of the times. So I can respond a lot more quickly when students submit things, because this is going to show me the last thing that was submitted. Respond first. I can tell when it was updated, when it was due, how many attachments they have, if they've resubmitted, if the assignment is complete, and whether or not it was on time. Now I'm gonna zoom out of here. So this is a really helpful report. Notice that I'm able to just look at some classes. It doesn't have to be all my classes together. Although looking at all my classes together is super helpful, but I probably want to like, how are my algebra classes doing? So I check all my periods of algebra versus geometry. I can add and create groups. So again, if I just want to focus on a certain subgroup of students, I don't have to look at who turned in work for everybody. I can drill that down and I can change the date range. So this is showing me assignments just for the last month. If I wanted to do for the whole entire semester, all I have to do is change those dates right up here. So I find this really helpful. Then I can do is I can click over here on students. And so if I have a particular student that I'm looking for Heather. There we go. We have Heather J, remember? So you can see I have a nice little filter right here. And on the filter, I can find my students quickly. I can see how many assignments they've completed, what is their percent completed, what's their trend, are they trending up or down? This is so helpful, knowing if they're improving. I'd love to be able to call parents and say they're improving. What a great, it does it for me. I can see right from the chart that they are improving. Awesome sparkline. Okay, now right next to their name, it says to view the student profile. So I can just go ahead and open that up. It's going to show me some charts about that student. I'm going to be able to see when they're turning in work, so I can see if there's been a big gap. So right away, I'm going to get the information that I need to know, hey, does this student need some support? Are they disengaged? Do they log in frequently? How many times have they logged in or submitted something? Actually, you can't track how many times they log into Google Classroom. They have to actually do something. So each of those actions are logged. I can see all their assignments and their status. I can sort it by points received. I can do anything greater than 60, and it's going to show me those assignments, anything greater than 70, anything greater than 75. You see how I can filter this down using these filters. So that is really helpful, whether or not it's returned or missing based on its status. And so I have all of this information to really quickly help me to help students get on track. Okay, so now I come back here to the top and it says progress report. And when I click on that, I love this. It gives me the option to create a Google Doc. So I'm going to authorize this. This is the demo data. So hopefully it will let me do it. No, it won't let me do it because it's the demo data. So next time I'll take some screenshots on that, but that's okay. So it would show me the progress report in a Google Doc, which honestly is all I've ever wanted. So that's super helpful. I can get a report of what assignments are missing. I can get a report of which assignments what they've had over the last 2 weeks or any date range that I want. And it's really easy for me to share that because I can put it right to a Google Doc or a PDF. So if you'd please use the hashtag #BackToClassroom so you can share this information or any other tips that you have about using Google Classroom or any tools that you use to go back to Google Classroom. I use Schoolytics, Mote, Screencastify, and many other great tools to help enhance my students' learning experience. So I hope today that Schoolytics is going to be helpful to you to know who submitted work.